Yep.
Okay, so basic gauges right here. You have water pump, water heater, and this is a water heater for electric. So when we're running the water heater traveling, it's typically on the liquid propane gas. If you're going to be hooked up to a site for any length of time and you're hooked to electricity, you can run the water heater on electricity, so it saves your propane. So we got the water pump. It's just basically an on-off switch. If you hear that kind of a rattling, vibrating noise, that's pressure building up in the lines. And then it also makes the same noise when the water's running. Now this is only when you're operating on the clear water storage tank. When you're operating on a system where you're just piped into water at a site, then you won't hear that noise because you won't have the water pump on because you'll have pressure from the site. So turning the water off, same thing, just switch it off. And initially you'll get a little bit of water coming out and then it shuts down because it's no longer pumping. So if you want water, you gotta have the water pump on. This is very simple. For the water heater, you turn it on or off. If it's on, the light's on, and that means it's gonna start igniting with the propane. I'm gonna shut it off so it doesn't go through the system. This will tell you the effectiveness of your battery charge. And when each of these indicator lights is on, it lets you know that the battery is fully charged. The gray water, this will let you know if your gray water storage tank is either full or empty. The fresh water, it flicked onto the last light. We've just filled it up so we know it's full, but I think maybe the sensor is not quite accurate. We have the same issue here with the black water tank, and I'm not sure why, but we've assumed that there's maybe some sort of a solid paper or whatever stuck in on the sensor. But it reads 2/3 quite often when we know we just emptied it out. So it's kind of something you keep track of. How often did you empty it? We'll work on getting that operational. But the gray water is empty. Black water shows 2/3 full even though it was completely empty. The fresh water tank shows full, and then the battery's full. So those are just little things to be able to check while you're traveling. The rest of it's pretty simple. We have USB ports that are just on the 12-volt adapters up front on the dash. There are no others in the unit. You can plug in a 110, a standard outlet, into one of the outlets along. There's one here. There's, I believe, one along the side of the bed in the back. There's one in multiple places. But that only works. Those will operate when you're on 110 with either the generator working or if you're hooked up to a unit that has electricity. So that's the caveat on that. Other than that, the charging ports are going to be up at the front. Rest of it's fairly simple operation. Make sure everything's stowed away before you start driving because things do slide. Anything on this table is coming off. I mean, unless it's got sticky tape to it, it's going to slide off on a corner. Aside from that, most things just get tucked away, and after you hit a few bumps to see if a couple things move, you'll realize that what needs to be tucked away. We generally tuck everything away in the sink, including the cutting board, sink in the bathroom, so that nothing, and if you have anything solid, you don't want any big items sitting on the floor, because if you have to stop suddenly, those will in fact slide forward and that could hurt somebody. So aside from general cautions, it's pretty straightforward. The microwave?
Yeah.
Microwave works on electricity only, and that has to be with either the generator on or hooked up to electricity. So the microwave, it's a fairly simple thing. You start up the generator.
We have it plugged in, right?
And then you go in, open it up, put your items in. If you want to make popcorn, push popcorn and start, and wait till it stops popping. So pretty straightforward on all that. Everything's pretty clean. As far as the rest of the unit, the cooktop works by starting it up here, turn on the gas, and then spark to ignite. And I don't know if you can see the flame, but that one's on. The second one here is the one in front. Turn it to light, ignites. Third one is the one on the far right. Turn it to light, ignites, and that's on. Okay. The gas for the oven, however, has a pilot. So you have to set it on pilot, push it and hold it, and then you light the pilot inside in the back with a lighter. So go through that process real quick. You have a lighter here in the drawer. I'm going to go ahead and start that up. Get back to, there's the pilot. I don't know if you can see that on there. I'm going to hold this down until that pilot ignites. Okay, the pilot's lit. I don't know if you can see the flame. Okay, now this has got a standard thermocoupler on it, so you have to wait approximately 60 seconds for the thermocoupler to heat and cause that valve to open for gas to flow through it. So right now we're just holding the button up here up top, holding it in the pushed in position. It's on pilot. We're going to wait and wait and wait. We're going about 60 seconds. And if you watch that pilot light, when I release, you want to make sure it's still on. So you can see it's still on. So now we're going to turn this thing on and the burner lights up. And then you have your standard controls up here for temperature and then broil. The thing is with the broiler, it's a very limited broiler because anything you're going to be broiling is going to be down beneath the flame. So if you're trying to broil, it would be down here beneath the flame. Aside from that, once it's shut off, you go into the off position, past pilot to off, and the entire thing shuts down, including the pilot light. So if you want to turn the oven back on again later, you're going to have to reignite the pilot light in the same procedure. Okay, that's it for the oven. That's it.
Does it look